It's important for me to call to your attention that the president has a book that you are familiar with. It is styled The Art of the Deal. The Art of the Deal. Well, I want to introduce you to the president's Art of the Steal. Art of the Steal. A steal can be an underhanded way of acquiring something. The art of the steal. Here is how it works. The president, with his tariffs, will continue. At one point, it was going to be unimaginable, but he has reduced it. Let's just say 10%. There's a 10% tariff. This tariff is collected at the point of entry into the United States of goods that an importer desires to purvey in this country. He wants to sell it, or she wants to sell it. They want to sell it. They want to sell these goods. So they have to pay this tariff. And this tariff has to be paid that the president would add to the goods. Let's say you have something that costs $40,000 coming into the country, tariff of 10%. So that's going to give you an additional $4,000. This additional $4,000 is collected at the point of entry, and the person importing has to pay the tariff. Has to pay the tariff. This is the Trump tariff tax at this point. And when that tariff is paid, that money goes into the Treasury of the United States of America. The same place that your tax dollars will go, into the Treasury of the United States of America. Tariff, collected, port of entry, let's say $4,000 on a $40,000 item, if it's a 10% tariff. And when it is collected, it goes again, important to remember, into the Treasury. Now, that person who imports and has this additional tax now to deal with will do what you will see when you buy something and you're in a state that has a sales tax. You'll see that the item costs X amount of dollars. If it's something that costs $40,000 and there's a 10% sales tax, then you'll see that there's a tax on there, sales tax of 10% or $4,000. Well, here is where the stealth comes in. Here's where the art of the steal begins. When the person sells that $40,000 item and has to add that additional $4,000 to it, that person becomes somewhat of a tax collector for the Trump tariff tax steal. That person who purchased this item, brought it into the country, paid $40,000 for it, and then had to pay $4 more, making it $44,000, adds that $4,000 to that product when you buy it. That $4,000 is added. The unfortunate thing is, it's not done the way a sales tax is done. It's not noted that you are paying it. You pay it because it's a part of buying the product. But there's nothing that will say this is the Trump tariff tax steal. It won't be there. It's a very stealthy way of doing business. Most people don't realize that they're paying this tariff, this tax, this steal, if you will. They do. But we really haven't gotten to the essence of what's important here. That money, that $4,000 that was paid at the point of entry, now collected from you, because the person who is selling, purveying, does not want to pay that because they're operating possibly on a thin profit margin. They already have an overhead that they have to consider. So you pay it. Now it goes into the Treasury. And here's where it gets really stealthy. The steal gets stealthy. Because at some point the president is desiring to say, I gave you a tax break. You got a tax break from the president. Well, here is the truth. That tax break that you think you're getting or may get, and the billionaires will get, That's the money that came out of your pocket. The president was desiring to get this huge tariff because that would be more money in the coffer coming out of your pocket so that it could then be some of it. You don't get it back dollar for dollar. You might get some of it back. Some. You may not get any depending on your tax circumstance. The billionaires will get plenty. You may not get any. This is a stealthy way of doing business. It's a steal. This is why it is the art of the steal that has been developed by this president so that he can take money out of your pocket, put it into the treasury, and then say later on, you now have a tax break. I think that people who understand this will understand why tariffs are not always a great benefit to you. They can be a benefit in some circumstances, but remember, the president was putting a tariff on some 90 plus countries. He was putting a tariff on any and every country that he could find a means by which he could tax with a tariff. And some places didn't have people to actually tax with a tariff, just animal life. But he was desperate because he wants to get money into the coffer, the treasury of the United States of America, so that he can then say to you, you have now a tax break. Some of you may, billionaires will, have a tax break, but it's really money out of your pocket that is being returned to you in a diminished fashion. This is the art of the steal as perfected or as is being perfected by our president.